Legends, welcome back, and in this episode we're going to take a further look at the 8HP swap into the S15 Silvia. Alrighty, now as promised, we're going to take a deep dive into the electrical side of things. So all the selectors, the paddles, the simulated clutch, the TCU, the ECU, we're going to go over all the settings. We're going to do what it takes to get this thing fired up and all commissioned and ready for its first drive. Okay, so welcome to my office. Now it is mega hot outside in Queensland on the Gold Coast, so I have to do it in here from now. Anyway, first things first we're going to look at is the TCU and the wiring harness that you can get with it. So this gearbox has to run a TCU, which is just like your ECU for your engine computer. We have a gearbox computer, transmission computer, whatever you want to call it. This gearbox is pretty trick. So we'll look at the wiring harness now and the actual TCU, and we'll go over what it entails, what it comes with, and what you need to do. Okay, first things first, we're going to look at the TCU. So this is the Turbolamik TCU. It's really nice actually, this kit. Comes packaged really well. Comes with a bunch of bits and pieces. So we've got like fault codes list and stuff like that. We've got a few stickers, and I'm pretty sure this is just don't mess it up because there'll be no refunds. So you just need to know what you're doing pretty much in there. This little card here, I haven't had to actually install this. This is, if you're purchasing a gearbox just from like a Wreckers or something like that, you'll need to install this into the gearbox somewhere. Not 100% sure, but if you're buying your gearbox from like Track Industries or 8-Speed, they already have these installed. So probably just do that. The TCU itself is a really nice piece of kit. It's like a cast alloy or something like that. You can see there's a bunch of pins, and then this is where the tuning cable goes into. Boom. So that's quite nice. If you needed to, and you wanted some extra inputs and everything, or outputs coming from the TCU, you could repin some more into the harness that you'll see in a second. We've also got an 8 position, and I think this is, yeah, ECU masters. This is actually really nice. Listen to that. Ooh, 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 ooh. That sounds good. All right, so 8 position, and we do solder some stuff on here, and I'll show you how that's done. We've got a little LCD sort of screen. The wiring harness that we get with these just plugs straight into there, so it's nice and easy. What do you get on the LCD screen? You get stuff like your mode positions, 1 to 8. It'll tell you if your adaptation, so if you're doing an on-the-street auto gearbox calibration, it'll tell you with a little letter A. It'll tell you your clutch pedal engagement, if you're manual, if you're auto, whole bunch of features. So it's quite handy, to be honest. So I'm always looking at this when doing all the tuning. And then you've got a tuning cable. So pretty easy really. We'll leave this out. I might chuck all of this back in. So Charles from Track Industries, because I have already got all mine installed, was really kind to drop this off so I could do this video for you guys. So let's all thank Charles, you legend. Next up here is the harness kit. So this is really quite nice. To be honest, so here we are here. We've got a nice connection. It's really easy to connect into, and then it kind of pulls itself in. Look at that. That's nice, isn't it? All the hard work's been done. All right, and then we have a few bits and pieces here. First things first, we have a big plug here. This is already pre-terminated, it's nice. This goes into the gearbox. There's a connector on the gearbox. This slides in, locks in, happy days. Okay, next up after this gearbox, loom and plug, are these 5 looms. This is all pretty easy. So this one here, which is pre-terminated, this works with the BMW OEM shifter. Where is it here? It's on the little side here, so that'll plug in into there. And it just means you keep your wiring and connections all nice and simple. It's got CAN bus in there, has all the features like Sports Plus and all that type of stuff. Makes it pretty easy. But it's not as cool as a sequential shifter. Next up, we've got 4 more left. We've got this one here, which is another pre-terminated plug, which will go, like I said before, to the LCD screen. So it just plugs into there. It's all nice and easy again. What do we got next? Then these 3 here, 2 of them are labeled and one of them's not. So one of them says clutch. That one there, when you install the linear potentiometer from Haltech, it's got a 3-pin plug on there. It comes with another male side to that, or female side actually. And those plug into that. It's for the clutch. It's already calibrated, makes life nice and simple. If you're not using it, you just disregard it. And if you're not using this OEM one, just disregard it. Next up is map. Now we are actually using this one for the sequential ups and downs and for the paddle shifts as well. So this is our gear shifting, this one that says map. And then the lucky last is one that's not labeled, but I reckon it should be, is when you're running this mode selector, we solder these onto there. Cool. So not too difficult at all. Once again, this is an analog 5 volt, so it'll use a 5 volt supply, a sensor ground, and a sensor, signal return. So there you go there. What else is next? Cool, we've got all of these road cables here. So what I'll do is we've got this the sheet here which explains everything. It's got all of your colors, what it all can do. You've got stuff that you need to connect, stuff that is like optional. You've got stuff that you need for internal torque calculation. Now you can hardwire stuff like TPS, RPM and map sensor if you've got maybe an ECU that doesn't have CAN bus. But if you have CAN bus, like a Link G4X or M-Tron, Motec, Haltech, whatever it is, you do all of this internal torque calculations over CAN bus. Makes life nice and easy. This you might hardwire if you had like a carburetor V8 or something where you didn't have an ECU. On the top here, things that we need to connect. Black, 2.5 and 1 mil, just for a ground. So you just put it to a ring lug. So if I go into this harness, there's a 1 mil and a 2.5 black. It's literally going to the chassis of the car. So however you want to terminate that, you terminate that. Next up again, we've got red, 2.5 and red 1 mil. The red 2.5 is battery 12 volt constant. And then the red 1 mil is ignition 12 volt. So ignition, so that'll go to your, that's a 1 mil, go to your factory wiring harness, wherever you can find an ignition source 12 volt. And then this will go to a constant battery voltage of 12 volts. So that's those taken care of. What else have we got on the must-haves? We've got CAN high and CAN low for the CAN bus. So it's a twisted pair, orange and brown, orange and black. Already it's been twisted from the guys who are making the harness for us, which is nice. Twisting the cables on a system that uses a lot of like information transfer and data and stuff is really good to keep all the noise down and no interference. So all I did with this is I put this into a Deutsch connector and connected it into my my CAN bus CAN hubs. So I've got a whole bunch of CAN networks. And I have these hubs where you can just plug and play, makes life nice and easy. What else have we got? Still got a few cables left over. We do not need all of them to do this. Next one down that says optional, I reckon it's a must-have. It's a foot brake signal, which is orange. So orange, flat orange, which is this one here. This would go to your brake switch on your car. Think of an automatic. Obviously this is a manual car, but it does have a brake switch. So on an automatic, you always have to put your foot on the brake to be able to change out of park and neutral and stuff. So the parameters in the TCU are set up to want to have a brake switch. Whether or not in the TCU you can disconnect that you need this brake input, don't know, just run it. Next up we've got handbrake, which is a red 0.5, which I cannot see in this harness. It's like it doesn't exist in this harness. We've got a white and red and a white and blue for paddle upshift and paddle downshift. Now this is the same for a sequential shifter and for your paddles. They run on the same circuit, and it's this one here and this one here. Boom. All right, there's only 3 cables left. We've got, what have we got here? So we've got a white and black for paddle MUX. Now paddle MUX, I know in the software we can use that as a horn if we wanted to. And then you've got sensor ground, you don't actually need that connected. Fan relay, so automatic transmission has a fan caller, so a fan for the cooling system. I trigger it via, I send information from the TCU, which is gearbox temperature, to my ECU. My ECU then triggers relays, but you can hardwire a relay with a signal here if you wanted to. You've got reverse lights, vehicle speed sensor out. So you don't actually need these, especially if you've got a trick ECU which has a lot of CAN bus. I think that covers it. Okay, next up we're going to talk about shifters. So we have a couple of options here. The first one is the BMW style OEM shifter, like I was showing before. That has the pre-terminated plug already ready to go in, so makes wiring pretty easy there. But it's not as fun as the sequential style shifters. So you've got a tall version and a short version. I've opted for the tall version in my S15. As you can see here, it comes with a 3-wire loom. Really nice really, it just plugs into the back. It's got a nice connector on it. And then the next option we have, which is super highly desired, is the paddle shifting. So I've put the paddle shifts and commissioned them on the S15 as well. The paddle shifts run in conjunction with the sequential style shifter, so they work really well. Once again, it's really just a 3-wire system for the paddle shifts. So both the sequential and the paddle shifts are just a common, an up and a down shift. Okay, lucky last is the simulated clutch feature. For this to operate, we need a couple of items to be installed here. First one up is this nice piece by 8-speed. It's a billet adapter which replaces the standard clutch master cylinder. And inside this piece, there's like a really high tensile sort of spring in there. And it replicates the feel of a heavy duty clutch. And then next we need a linear potentiometer. This one we're using is from Haltech. This is just like a standard 0 to 5 volt analog feedback for the TCU, and that way we can program how much clutch slip and engagement and where we want it on the position of the clutch pedal. So we can simulate it for it to bite really early, in the middle, or right at the end, whatever we would like. So this is an electronic simulated clutch pedal now instead of a hydraulic standard clutch engagement pedal. Okay, I'll quickly show the install that I've done on this S15. So obviously the TCU, I have bucket seats. The bucket seat sits over the top of this. We don't have any clearance issues, so that's really nice. And my Sparco seats sit really close to the bottom. And we've still got enough clearance if anyone's wanting to know that. Majority of the cables head up through here and come underneath the center console. The cables that come this way and through this little kick panel here, they are pretty much just the 12 volt supply, the ignition supply, the ground. It's pretty much it really. I grabbed my battery 12 volt supply off the PDM Razor. My ignition comes from the standard sort of wiring harness. Majority of cables, like I said, cruise up through here. I've got my CAN bus cable, which is a twisted pair, coming down to my CAN bus modules that I've got here. If you're wondering, I've got a Link Fury G4X, a Razor PDM, and a Haltech EGT module. So yeah, this is a PT Motorsport. See if I can come in quicker here, a little bit closer. PT Motorsport 4-way CAN bus hub. I've just cable tied both of them together, so I've got 8. And they are a 4-pin Deutsch connector, and I've just because normally you run like a positive 12 volt, a ground, plus the high and low CAN bus to power stuff like all the lights and everything, to power up something like this, which is a 8-button Link CAN keypad, which are super deluxe. But you just, for something like this that doesn't need 12 volts going to it from the CAN bus, you just hook the high and the low up, and don't hook the other 2 pins up in the 4-way connector. Pretty easy. What else do we got? You can see I've just mounted my 8-position rotary mode selector there. And then I have the cables coming for the sequential shifter. They're all just mounted underneath here. And then I also have the cables going out to the LCD screen, which is over there. Boom. And then also have a little loom going out to the clutch pedal, which I'll show you in a second. And then the also desired paddles. Yummy, yummy. So pretty simple layout really. It's nice and hidden, and it just works. Okay. All right, this is a little bit of a close-up of what I've done on the clutch pedal. Clutch pedal was pretty easy really. Clutch pedal here, you can see the sort of connection. I've done a little bracket on the side of it and then mounted this potentiometer as far that way as possible. So when I mounted it to the frame through there, it was basically, I wanted it to go straight and I didn't want it to be on a weird angle. So you can see here, when you open it, potentiometer lengthens and then shortens. So that's pretty much it really. You've just got to mount it however you can to get it to like sit sort of like horizontal, not on a big twist, not to put any pressure on the potentiometer, just in its natural movement pretty much. And that's it. So you can see here, clutch pedal feels really firm, rebounds really well, feels really nice, just like a heavy duty clutch. Okay, then lastly, you can see the bracket that I've made up for the paddles. You potentially can buy brackets that go onto your steering wheel. I just fabbed mine up out of 5mm alloy. Took the steering wheel off, measured it up, got the right dimensions, bent it all into place. And then you've got mounting screws that come, well, I got extra long mounting screws that I had, I think they're like 3mm. And then you just mount the paddles to it wherever you see suits. So you can see here, fits pretty nicely. Sorry about the shaky camera. But these paddles are really nice. You've got little magnets here you can put on and off. They change the intensity of the click, how it feels. That's max at the moment, but really cool. And then you got your shifter, and then you got your mode selector, and then you get your little LCD screen that I've just got sort of sitting there for now. Boom shakalaka. Holla! All right, legends, that pretty much wraps up this video. I don't want it to be too long. It probably is too long. Most are probably bored by now, but if you stay to the end, you obviously are really interested in doing the swap. Now the swap, as you can see, isn't too bad. There is a lot of work to be done, but you don't have to run all of the equipment that I did install on there. I've just gone and installed everything that I know at this point that you can do to have all the features. And I have driven the car's on the street, driving around, I've done adaptations, it's been on the dyno and everything like that. So in the next video, I will show us out on the street doing a whole bunch of cool stuff. And I just want to let you know now, is it worth it? It is worth it. Oh, it's amazing. It's basically made the car a lot more comfortable to drive. When sort of in car parks and cruising around at petrol stations and taking off, made it really nice to drive. And then at a click of a button, it's ballistic. So it's like, it's breached the expectations that I had. I'm so excited for it. I've just actually pulled the car off the road, changing the final drive in the rear end, doing a little bit of maintenance work on the 2J, but it will be back on. I'll create a new video, we'll go out on the street, we'll be on the dyno, you show all the shifts. It's very aggressive, but very tame at the same time. So good. See you on the next video.